Welcome to Qdabra's weekly webinar. This is Patrick. It's 8:05 and we're going to get started. Today I'm thrilled to present, announce or introduce Sweta Powdell, who's doing their presentation. Sweta joined us over a year ago and we've been working on AI projects for that long. We've actually done several webinars on AI projects that we've been working on. Last month, the end of May, we did a webinar on the new support portal, which featured an AI bot to help you as a concierge in the portal to help you answer questions without the need for help from Qdabra immediately. This is a portal that's trained on the concierge, that's trained on your support queries from the past. A month earlier, at the end of March, actually it was 2 months earlier, we did a webinar on how to take your SharePoint documents and create a smart concierge to ask questions, a chatbot, essentially, retrieval augmented generation, RAG-based system to do that. We had a very nice webinar with Samyong Gamir, who also joined us over a year ago, showing how to do that. Qdabra has been at the forefront of AI development in RAG by adding things that we haven't seen anywhere else to these apps, evaluation metrics that we haven't seen, and other things. Today we're going to show you something that you have not seen anywhere else, and this is how to add a concierge to your form, and specifically to help users fill out the form more quickly. Now, originally, about a year ago, we did a webinar on this in July of 2023, where we showed an initial prototype of this. And when we did that, it was mainly a task pane. We showed how to fill out the form using AI bot to insert the answers. With one clever addition, which we had this semantic validation, which was unknown at the time, but was a really cool feature add that we did. We've completely revisioned this feature, this AI-based feature, since then, and realized that having a task pane fill out the form is not really ideal because people want to have autonomy, people want to have agency, people want to be able to fill out the fields. But what do they want the concierge to do? They want the concierge to answer tough questions and help them fill out the form correctly. So I'm pleased to introduce Sweta Powdell, who's going to be leading you through this webinar today. She's got a couple demos, and then Mel Clemente, one of our top form designers, the top form designer at Qdabra. Sorry, Mel. She will actually follow Sweta's introduction demos with a demo at the end of how to add this new XTP to your form. This is completely free to our existing Qdabra Forms customers, with the exception, with the one assumption that you have an API key for one of these language models. Sweta?
Thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. Now, and hello, everyone. So, our main topic of this webinar is the new AI concierge chatbot, and I'm not able to change the slide. Just a second. I think I need to refresh it. Sorry for that. So today's topic is Qdabra's new AI concierge chatbot, and our new chatbot has 4 key features, and they are seamless validation. Now we have defined the validation with 2 sections. One is semantic validation and the other is document validation. The semantic validation basically ensures that any value that we enter in a field has to be in context with either the theme of the form or itself, or any of the fields that are present in the form. And the document validation ensures that the user input to a field has to be in context with some document. That could be a reference document, policy document, or any SOP documents. And the next feature is intelligent autofill. It's a very simple feature. So we will be generating some values for a field based on some other fields and a custom instructions. And our third key feature is real-time form assistance. So if you have any questions regarding a form or its fill, so you can simply ask that question in the task pane and you'll have real-time support from the chatbot. And the fourth key feature is easy to configure. So we have also created a configuration form where we can define what fields of the form will have these AI features. So let's go through a quick demo of all these features.
Sorry, Sweta, to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we have correct audio. We had a question from Brian about the audio
Mhm.
going in and out. So I just want to ask if anyone else is hearing audio have audio problems. I think if you raise your hand, I think that would help us to understand this. And we are in Asia, so I'm in Japan, and Sweta is in Nepal, and
Mhm.
Mel is in the Philippines. So I think the majority of the people on the call here are from the U.S., which is our expectation. So Brian's saying that the volume seemed low in the beginning. So Brian, are you okay with the current volume? Is everything okay? I'm trying to get other
Am I
people.
audible?
Okay, we have another person chiming in
Mm.
too. No problems on the East Coast. Okay, you're good. You're good, Sweta. So keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so sure. So we have this change control form, and we have already added the qFormChat XTP. As you can see here, there is a small icon at the bottom right, and when I click on it, we'll have a chatbot here. And using this chatbot, we can ask any questions, any queries that we might have regarding a form or any of its field. So let's start with asking, what is the form about? Let's know the details of the form first.
And
Okay, so
this
we
is
got some
this is live,
response.
right? This is live going to.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it Claude
yeah.
3.5 or are we talking OpenAI?
We are using OpenAI GPT-4o model. That's the best model from the OpenAI right now. And okay, so we got the response. It says the form is a change control form used to document and manage changes in a project or system, including the nature, impact, and approval of the changes. So we got some few details, and we will visit this support feature at the end of our demo as well. Now let's move on to the two key features we have, that are the validation and the autofill feature. So for validation, I'm going to fill out few fields of the main section of this form. So let's start with the project name. For project name, I'm going to enter some absurd values. Let's say whatever, I don't care. And now for the email field, let's say I'm going to enter Sweta Qdabra, com, which is not a valid email, as you can see here. And now let's move on to the change summary section. Now, since it's summer and everybody wants to go on vacation, let's say vacation with my family. And for the justification of change, I'm going to say I went to watch a movie with my
I mean,
friends.
these seem like completely ridiculous answers. What are you talking about here? Are you just showing some feature?
We will, yes, definitely. So we are going to run some validations upon these fields once we submit the form. So let's move on to next section of the form where I'm going to demo the autofill, intelligent autofill feature. So this is the impact factor section of the form, and we have 8 different impact factors, as you can see here. And we are going to generate this impact values, minor, moderate, or for the impact on system functionality, low, medium, high, using AI. So
What
what
is an
we are going
impact?
to do
What's an
is,
impact factor? What is an
so
impact factor?
impact factor basically describes our change, let's say for the nature and extent of the change. we'll have some descriptions, and based on that, it will analyze whether it would have minor impact on a system, on our process, or a moderate impact.
I see.
So,
Got it.
and
Thank
the
you.
nature and the extent of the change, let's say we are adding a new workflow
You could
to
probably
alert.
misspell it, right? I mean, misspelling works, right?
Um, works. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Adding a new workflow to alert the user. Now, when I enter the tab, it will take a few seconds to generate, to analyze our description for the nature and extent of the change, and categorize it, and generate whether this the nature and extent of the changes has a minor or moderate impact upon the system. Okay, so the AI says it has moderate impact on the system, and we got the corresponding score as well. Now let's try for one more fill here. We have impact on system functionality. Let's say the change will make our system more reliable and faster.
I'm really curious to how you did this because, obviously I know, but to
Mhm.
play the dialogue prompt
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
because it's like it requires a lot of stuff behind the scenes to do this, right?
yes, yes, it requires. And I'm going to show you the instructions that I've added to generate the feed, the values for the impact sections as well, that we have in the configuration form. Okay, so we got the medium impact for our description on the impact on system functionality. So this was our intelligent autofill. Now let's try to submit the form and see if we can submit or not.
What's the difference between medium and moderate?
Um,
They're both two.
yeah, they're similar, but let's see, we can check the document.
This is taking a long time.
Yeah, it's actually trying to analyze all the fields and trying to validate whether these fields are
I see,
correct or
that's right,
not.
because you click
It
submit.
take, yeah.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. So I click the submit button. Okay, so here we got few validation errors and we are not able to submit the form. Let's go through one by one. So first validation error that we got is invalid email format, and the next is inconsistent summary and justification. The third is unprofessional project name. Wow. And the fourth is summary does not align with the document purpose. So as you can see here, all these validation error of the fields were present in the main section of the form. So it does not matter whether you are on the part 2, part 3, or any view of the form, it will give us the same response if for the fields that we have defined in the configuration form and that has the AI feature enabled. So now let's go one by one and try to update these values. Let's ask what was wrong with our email format. So let's say what is wrong with the email format. Okay, so we quickly got the response from the chatbot. It says the email format is invalid because it should contain at the rate symbol and a valid domain. And we provided Sweta Qdabra com. There's no dot, there's no at the rate. These things are missing. And it also gave me example. It says a correct email format could be Sweta at the rate qdabra.com, and that is actually my email address. So let's change the email with the correct email address. Can you change? the email with sweta@qdabra.com.
Can.
Okay. Okay, it says successfully replace the value. Now we don't know whether it has been updated or not. So, okay, we are on the main section and here we go. We have sweta@qdabra.com, which is a valid email in the email field. Now let's try to update the other fields as well. Now let's change the project name to Qdabra support release. Okay, we got Qdabra support release in the project name as well. Now let's try to change this vacation with my family, that is in the change summary section of the form with a valid value. Let's ask the chatbot if it can give me some examples for the change summary. So let's ask, can you please give me some examples for the summary field? Okay, that was quick. So we got few examples here. It says the summary field should provide a concise description and the changes. And here are some examples. We have software update implementation and a description here as well. The next is process improvement. The third is hardware update, and the fourth is compliance adjustment. So you can see here all the examples that our chatbot generated is in context with the form. So these values are not some random suggestions from the chatbot. Now let's try to update the change summary. I like the fourth example that you gave me. Let's replace that to the summary field.
Now, is this using the attached document? I know you're going to talk about this with the config in
Yep.
a second.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
So all these examples that the chatbot generated is in context with the document and the entire context of the form. So it says it has successfully replaced the value, and here we go. It says modifying the quality control procedures to comply with the latest regulatory standards. So we got the change summary updated as well. Now let's generate the justification of change. So the justification has to justify why we are making this change. So let's generate the similar justifications for the change. Let's generate the justification examples as well. Okay, so we got few examples for the justification as well. So we got uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples that are related to this change summary. Now let's try to update the justification as well. Let's replace the justification with the fourth example.
It's amazing that it's able to just insert this based on your.
Yeah. Yes, so we got the justification here as well. And since the change summary was based on quality control, we got similar justification reasons for the change to our quality control procedures as you can see here. Now let's try resubmit the form. So I'm going to click the submit button again and see if we can successfully submit the form or not.
I think the key thing here is we've kind of pivoted from having the chatbot help you fill out the form to using it at the end with validation and also using it for these new features with autofill. Did it work?
Yeah, let me try again.
And of course, there's the whole back and forth support feature that you just showed with
Okay,
task. Nice.
so we got the form has been successfully submitted here. Okay, now let's move back to the slides and I'll go through the features one by one so that we can have short ideas about these features. Okay, I'm having some issues
Try hitting the right
with the
arrow
slides.
key.
I did.
Mm.
Looks like there's some issue. Or maybe my device. Okay. Okay, so the first key feature that we saw in our demo was semantic validation. So semantic validation basically maintains contextual integrity. So it ensures that the field value has to be in context with itself. And the relevance confirmation, it also maintains relevance confirmation. So it ensures that a field value in a form has to be in context with the entire theme of the form. And we have the next feature is cross field consistency. So let's say if we have two values in a form and we have added the AI validations for that, so it maintains the accuracy and consistency between two related fields. So here are the subtypes of semantic validation. One we have is field to self validation that maintains the contextual integrity. So we saw in our demo when I added this Sweta Qdabra com in the email field, it says no, the email is incorrect. So this is the field to self validation. And the next is field to form validation. So one example that we saw is project name. So when I added whatever I don't care value in the project name, we got the validation error there. So it analyzes the entire theme of the form and then process the validation. The third is field to field validation. So it maintains the cross field consistency. We saw in our form we had field to field validation for summary and justification, and the justification has to be in context with the summary, and we got the validation error there as well.
How did you
And the
do that?
next key feature,
Sorry, random
yeah,
question here.
so yeah,
Yeah, how did
yeah.
you implement this? I mean, in the back end, is it a prompt? What is it?
Yeah, it's a prompt to the LLM model. So we are basically setting the categories of the semantic validation, and we are passing the form details in XML, and it's automatically analyzing the types of the semantic validation and also the config form. It is also reading the config details, and it
Awesome.
runs the validation there. Yep.
And you can talk about config form soon. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm mentioning the config form too much, but we'll go through that as well. Now, the next key feature is document validation. So in document validation, it's very simple. We have added a document and we have defined summary field in the change control form that has to be relevant to the document, the standard operating procedure document, and if the value summary value does not matches with the document, then it throws error there. So this is all about the document validation. Next is intelligent
Hold on. I know
autofill.
you're going to talk about the documentation again with the config form, but once again, this document's added to the config form, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is added in the configuration form.
You're going to show the document when we get to that, right?
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
yes, yes. And the next key feature is intelligent autofill. So it basically generates value for destination field. Here I'm mentioning destination field because the nature and the extent of the change, the text that we entered in the text field is called a source field, and the value that we generated is called destination field. So we are taking the source field and a custom instructions that I will show in the config form, and the LLM model is basically generating based on the source value and the prompt, custom prompt, and we are getting the value for the destination field. So this is the intelligent autofill. And the next feature is real-time support. So basically whatever questions you may have, you can enter in the task pane and it will provide the real-time support. We saw in our demo as well, and it also allows user to update the values. So you don't have to go to that particular field and update the field value
Yeah,
manually.
that's amazing. The view, it
That's,
doesn't even have to be in the current
yeah,
view, right?
yeah. Yes, we don't have to have be in the current view. We can be in the any view and then update the values. So now I'm going to demo the config form. We have mentioned multiple times here about the config form. Now let's, okay. To go to the config form, we have to click this Q icon here. And once we click this, we'll get directed to the config form. And using this form, we can define what fields in the form will have AI features. In the change control form, you can see there are multiple fields in different sections, and not all the fields has AI features. We have just configured the features for few selected fields. So okay,
I think this is
we
really
have
important
this.
sorry, Sweta, to interrupt again
Yeah.
here, but I think it's really important to tell our form design admins out there that you can actually determine which fields get the AI features. You don't, it's not
Mhm.
going to be on everything like we did back in July of 2023. You actually have the agency, the power to determine exactly which fields are going to get these features.
Yeah. And so this is the validation section. We have three major features: semantic validation, document, and autofill. So if I expand the semantic validation, okay, we have defined semantic validation for just four fields. Let's say the email field has field to self validation, the summary, and the justification field in the target XPath. We have, these are linked by field to field validation. And the third is the project name. It has field to form validation. So these are the three validation for the three fields for the semantic validation. And in the document section, I added a document validation to the summary field. And if we recall our demo, the chatbot was able to generate values that was very precise. It did not generated give me examples of some unrelevant values. So let's try to download this file and see this. Okay, so this is the document that we have been talking about. This change control form is designed using this SOP document, and here we have added the change summary field and a custom instruction. So we basically this instruction says you have to look in the purpose and the scope section of the document and then validate the summary. And it also generated me the examples for that field based on the descriptions of the SOP. So this is the document validation. And the next is the autofill section. So autofill section has three parts: source field, document, destination XPath, and instructions. In the source XPath, we have user descriptions. So it is the text field that we entered in our demo. and this is the destination field. This is the impact factor that the AI generated, and this is the instruction basically that goes behind as a prompt to the LLM model. And based on the instructions and the source value, we are generating the destination value. Now let's add one more field to the semantic validation and see if we can get invalid response for that field. So I'm going to get the XPath for a field that is in this document. So let's say we have name of contractor. So I have to simply copy the XPath here and then go back to the config form, and I will paste it in the XPath section. Now I will give it a type. So I'm going to give it field to self validation, and let's resubmit the form.
This is really cool. So it's going to
Yeah.
detect when the name is not the name of a contractor.
Yeah. So it says your changes have been submitted successfully. Now let's paste the page.
Wow, so it's just reloading it on open?
Yeah. So we have to right now reload the form to get the new config data. So now let's try to fill the name of the contractor. So we have in this external change section, here is the name of contractor and suppliers. I'm going to write something like the earth is flat maybe. And in the project section, Qdabra support release. And in the email, we have sweta@qdabra.com. Now let's click the submit button.
You had 4 fields, but you only filled out 3.
Okay, so it says the earth is flat is not a valid contractor name. So all these other fields, the Qdabra support release, I added, the valid values here, but just this, the name of the contract that we added right now in this semantic validation section, we got the wrong, message that this is
That's
not a
amazing.
valid
That's
contractor
awesome.
name.
Go back to the config form for a second. I just want to ask one more question.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
had 4
sure.
fields here, email, summary. So which one was missing? Summary?
Um,
And because they're both
Summary.
blank, it just worked, right?
Yeah, it worked because both of them were blank.
I got it.
If I
Wow.
added different values, it have given me a
Cool.
different response. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And one more thing here is we can also change our model. Right now, we are using GPT-4o, so we can switch to GPT-4 or Turbo Preview as per our requirement. And then we can also update our API key. Yes. So this
Awesome.
is the config form. Now let's move back to the slide. I hope I can switch it. Okay. Okay. So this was our last key feature that is easy to configure. This is for the admin section, the designer. And using this form, we can define what fields in the form will have this AI features. And the next is I think Mail will demo how we are going to add the XTP.
Just one quick question on the model. We're looking at
Yep.
Claude 3.5 Sonnet in the next week or two.
Mhm.
But this XTP that Mel's going to demo next is going to be freely available, I think, to everyone in a week or two. We're also going to be adding this to the Forms Designer soon, and we're going to talk about that in the end. This is a bit of a long webinar, and really appreciate your attendance and your audience here. This is a really key feature update for Qdabra with AI. Probably the most important form feature that we've delivered for AI. And we talked about AI in the support portal. We've talked about AI in the SharePoint site to analyze your documents and provide a concierge, so to speak, for your documents to allow people to ask questions using the retrieval augmented generation. But this feature really hits your forms, and we're making this available to all of our Qdabra Forms customers for free. The config form, the XTP that you're going to add to enable this, we're going to provide those to you. The only thing you need is an LLM API key. And I think OpenAI's are free. You might need to get a $20 a month plan with Claude, but you can definitely get these API keys and add them on your own. It doesn't have to be a special enterprise account. You can add your own $20 a month key here to get it to work, and it will. Mel?
Thank you, Patrick and Soda. That's a wonderful demo. Lots of great features with our AI tools nowadays, right? Patrick, can you make me a presenter, please?
Sure thing. 1 second.
Yeah.
Awesome job, Sweta.
Thank
We
you.
are making you presenter, Mel.
Thank you.
You're on.
Awesome. All right, let me show my screen. Okay. So now we're going to show you how easy it is to add this qFormChat into your forms just by the use of an XTP. First, I'm going to show you a sample expense report form here that doesn't have the qFormChat section yet, just to show you there's no magic going on. And then we'll add the good stuff. So right now it's just a blank, there's no chat icon right here. So I have this form template open in my InfoPath Designer. Currently, this is how we're adding XTP, but we're working on adding it in our Forms Designer really soon here. So right now I have a couple of Qdabra template parts already. I'm gonna go ahead and add or remove the control. I click on add, remove there, and add a template part. And browse to where my XTP is from my machine. It's gonna be in my samples folder right here. Click finish, and now we can see that it's been added, and I can then select that from my custom controls. It's right here. So first thing is you want to make sure that your cursor is not inside any of the existing sections that are in your form yet. So I have my cursor in a blank spot right here at the bottom. So I'm going to click on qFormChat. I'm going to add this section for us. So it comes with quick instructions on how you can use this form. So it says drag this in the intersection outside of its template part section. So we got that. Then it tells you to just delete the main, the group that got added in the main data source because you no longer need this. So I can delete this. And a couple rule changes here that we're going to do in Forms Designer just to show you that we can now continue modifying this form in Forms Designer. So I can delete this help text now. I don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to save my changes. So let's go ahead and save over this with qFormChat and overwrite. And heading back to my manage templates here in the overrider template with our changes. And click update. So again, this is how easy it is to publish, per se, a form template in Forms Viewer. So it's trying to upload. Now we're going to refresh our form session here. And okay, we shouldn't have done that yet because there are still rules that we need to do. Okay, so from here in the Manage Templates, our Upload Template page, we're going to click on the Design button to open it in Forms Designer. So we'll continue with our modifications. It's at the bottom right there. We go to the Qdabra rules, secondary data source, and the first thing that we want to do is make sure that our rules, qFormChat rules, are loading when the form opens. So you see a bunch of onload rules here. We just want to add a new one. We call this run qFormChat, and we're going to set a field's value. The field is going to come from our XTP qFormChat. You'll see we have already a bunch of XTPs in this expense report form. So we want to set actions init onload to something like go, just to trigger the rules that are there in place. Okay, so that's done. That's it for the finished loading. And we go to the XTP qFormChat secondary data source. We go to actions, and then expand Qdabra rules temp. Now we're going to change these temporary commands to point to the actual Qdabra rules node. So the temp command should come from the command node of Qdabra rules. So we're setting we're setting it to itself, and then the temp result field is going to be set to Qdabra rules, the result of the commands that run. Okay, I think we've got that set. Then we can save our template. I think that's all there is to it when it comes to adding this template.
Don't you also need to configure the AI?
Yeah, we are going to do that when we open the form, because you know, the icon to the config form is right in the template. So we'll show that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's open. Hopefully we did things correctly here. So I open a new session. I'm just going to close our other tab there that didn't have the XTP yet. Okay. All right. So it looks like we've made a mistake here. So I'm just going to double check things. So we've got Qdabra roles. Finished loading. Said, okay, this probably should be something that is running along with the other rules at the top, because something, because there are a lot of rules in this expense report form, something might be stopping even though. So I'm just going to make sure that it does run when I want it to run. So I think that should be fine. So I said init onload equals go. Done. Now you go back to XTP, qFormChat. You know, Qdabra rules temp, run qrules. So this should probably be setting, I think this is good though. Set the field's value to the results, set the stop. No, this used to be a pointing to stop. So I think that's all there is to it. So I'm trying to save again, and we'll see. If it does not open, I'm gonna create a new rule just to set the command node. All right. Lots of rules in there. There we go. Okay, so I showed briefly. There's our, so not sure what we did wrong. We have moving the rule up above probably did the trick, because there might be a rule in our expense report, one of the existing rules that might be stopping this qFormChat rule. Okay, so yeah, that's how easy it is to add it. We're gonna look at the config form, because right now if I do type something, it's not going to work because it's not associated with any config form yet. So I'm going to click on the Q icon here and just configure it real quick with the API key, right? There's no validation yet, but I'm going to try and see if I can specify an API key and submit the config. I might need to reload the form, so that's submitted. I'll reload the form so that our chat agent gets the correct config for this template. Then we'll start maybe asking a quick question. So, hello, can you help me fill out my expense report? And that. And we'll just look at what it responds to us. Sure, please provide the details you'd like to fill in. So yeah, the rest is up to you to go play around with. That's right.
Wow, I'm just wondering if you can go in, add that business purpose to the config form and do a field to self or something to see if that will work.
Would you like me to?
I mean, it shouldn't take much time. Let's just do it. Just try it. That was very fast, Mel. You added that XTP in like literally less than 10 minutes.
2 minutes.
So for those of
2
you on the
minutes.
call, XML template parts are a way to quickly add a boatload, bunch of features to your forms without having to worry about doing all the work. In this case, we're adding all of the stuff for the task pane, that little pop-up that you saw, along with data connections to the AP, to the AI. I think in this case we're assuming OpenAI, but we're going to have support for Claude soon. So is going to talk about that again in the slides here in a minute. And there's things like rules, all the rules that you saw, all the logic that's going on in the forms is all part of that XTP. So it bundles together all of this work that we've done and sort of allows you to reuse it. We use XTPs a lot here. Our goal over the next few months, certainly by the end of the year, is to have the qFormChat and all the other very common XTPs added to Forms Designer, so you don't have to go through and add it via InfoPath Designer at the beginning, because we all know InfoPath Designer is going away in 2026, and we're trying to wean ourselves off of it. We have a lot of new features coming. We just did a Forms Designer demo, new release, I guess, about a month ago. Mel, what are you
Yes, I'm
doing?
just
I thought
trying.
you're going to submit,
Yeah.
right? It's the submit command, right?
The thing is, we didn't do anything with the submit logic in the form itself. So I was trying to see if it will still catch that error regardless, right? And it looks like it
did not catch it. So close it and just try to submit. Maybe,
we didn't do anything in the submit button.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Right.
You have to add. We forgot to tell people that we need to add a special rule to the submit command. So what do you want to talk
we
about?
already have a centralized rule for validating, we just probably need to set that field, right, Sutter?
I see.
Yeah, we have to set a command.
Set a field, yeah.
Is that doable? Can we do that real quick?
I think so, yeah. Let me see if I got the right submit button though. I think this is the one for new expense reports. I'm gonna go to rules, it's pre-submit. Gonna add a new rule that says validate. And then set a field's value, it's gonna come from qFormChat. Is it the initiate validation, this one, right? So,
yes.
So we just need to set this to go. So again, the rules to validate are already there for you. So centralized for you. So that's, so I guess we should prevent submit, but let's give this a try.
Yeah, that's obviously one thing that we can't add to the XTP is that, we don't know which buttons in your form are doing the submit, so you're going to have to add this one extra step. Thanks, Mel.
Exactly. So we'll fill out the business purpose. This, if you missed it, in the config form, I specified my XPath to point to the purpose field. I said field to form. See if it catches the context of the forms. Right here, patient, family, and submit. Let's close that real quick.
You get other validation in the form.
Let's go 50. Yeah, there are other validations.
Which could be added.
It's different.
I mean, all that validation could be part of the chatbot, but we haven't switched this form to use the chatbot for that validation as well, because it could be all combined, so they don't have two separate validation prompts.
Right.
So you can definitely see that it's going to the AI now or doing something because it's
Yeah, this library isn't present in the demo, but
did you
yeah,
find
there's
the
things
config
we
form or what? Is that the problem? They couldn't
it
find the config form?
no, that library isn't present in our demo site right now, so maybe it didn't continue with it even sent me an email.
Does that mean it couldn't actually load the config form?
Say again.
It couldn't load the config form?
It loaded the config form, but on submit, it probably stopped validation because of that error message, if I'm right.
But why would it stop validation based on it? Yeah, I don't understand.
Because in our rules, it checks for, it says pre-submit, it checks for all the other rules here first before it validates. We can try moving this up, I guess. And I'm going to say here, before you attempt pre-submit, you should check if the form is valid. So let's try that. I'm here on the fly.
Oh, it was trying to submit to the library and it couldn't find the library, and the validation was after the
Yeah,
submit.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to stop doing all that submit if the form is not valid. So if valid equals true, then only then go ahead and pre-submit, run the pre-submit rules. That sounds good. All right, validate and then do that. So one more try here. Let's cross our fingers.
It wouldn't be a webinar without tries, attempts. You'd think you were just trying to pull the wool over your eyes, but this is actually live, as you know, as you can see.
And at least people know that we're real, not robots.
Well, let's make sure it works, though, because we don't want to be just robots. We want to be correct robots. Wait, did you just say?
Smart ones.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm mixing metaphors.
Let's try and submit. Oh, we need to fill it out. So do we now? I guess we don't. Yeah, let's just fill it out anyway. Submit. It's still trying to do that. I guess it's taking this as valid. So I don't know what's happening.
Good try, Mel. Sweta, let's quickly switch back to you for the recap.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Okay. So this is like Mail just showed us how to add a qFormChat XTP to any of the forms. So next is the availability roadmap. So Patrick, do you want to mention anything about this?
Yeah, so we're going to be, obviously, if you attend the webinar and you fill out the survey, we get 4 questions at the end. It's very simple. We'll send you the XTP, we'll send you the slides, we'll send you a link to the recording, which will be on YouTube here in a few days. And you'll have our support to help you add that XTP to your forms. And we would love to have you as an early adopter. Obviously, there's no cost to you to do any of this stuff. But we are going to be more available to you in the next month or two. We expect to have thousands of customers at our doorstep here to add this feature. So don't wait until there's the surge. Wait, be an early adopter. Get the form, add to your forms, impress your team, impress your users. Like the key thing here is that you don't have to validate every form. It can be just a very minor addition, that is, very safe, for you, but that adds value and shows that you can use this stuff. So it's kind of like you can essentially prototype it in your form and limit the extent of the prototype to one or two fields, right? You don't have to do all the fields. You can do the autofill. That's a really cool feature. You can do the validation for a couple fields. And then, if it doesn't completely work, it's not the end of the world, right? Because, well, it will work. But what we're saying is that it's not a huge impact. You can control the what we call the the space, trying to remember the word here, but you can control how much of your form is affected by this, so it can be really limited, so that it doesn't have a huge footprint uh, on initial deployment. And like I said, if you adopt this in the next month or so, we're going to be available to help you. I don't know how much availability we'll have in a month or two, because we might get really busy. Certainly, we're seeing a big surge in info path migrations with the 2026 deadline. So I would encourage you to do this, certainly in the next month or so, even if it's just one or two fields in a form, just to get it working. We'd love to have you as an early adopter. And then in August, we're going to have this available in the Forms Designer. So you'll have an option in Forms Designer. You won't have to add the XTP in InfoPath Designer like you saw Mel do, even though she did it just for the first few steps, and then she switched to Forms Designer. This will be a end-to-end XTP edition in the Forms Designer sometime in August, hopefully by Bill, we got some questions here. So let's switch to the next slide, Sweta. So Astika, thank you very much for your question. Can we use a Copilot subscription to use this feature? Yeah, I mean, obviously Copilot was based on OpenAI to begin with, so the API is exactly the same. We definitely need to add that to the dropdown in the config form. So that's good feedback. We'll take that and add that. But yeah, it should be very easy. And now all of the language model companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, they all have different APIs. OpenAI has the best. They have the largest number of features, and Microsoft is using that for Copilot. So I don't. Copilot has some additional APIs on top of that. So we'll need to make sure that there's compatibility there. But we'll definitely take that as an action item, and we can commit to getting that done in the next week or so. That's a great idea. Thank you very much for that question. Any other questions?
Patrick?
No?
Yeah, I actually got it to work, and yeah, I just
All
want to
right,
show people.
come back. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me
All
switch
right,
back to
let's
your
present
screen
again,
here.
please.
Glad you got it working.
I was modifying the wrong button. Yeah, please make me a presenter again.
No, I just
I'm
need to
excited
figure
to
out how
show
to do
people
that. Oh my gosh, go to webinar. Can't believe people are still using this. I don't know what we'd be using if we weren't using this. Okay, so what was the issue? What was the fix?
Yeah. So here I go. I was modifying the wrong buttons, apparently the one up here, because we've got a couple of submit buttons in this expense report sample.
Well, that's easy.
So here's the correct button. Yeah, so we triggered the validation. So it did the same thing that I showed earlier, and this time I stopped it after doing that. And then when I tried to enter the same text and business purpose, we got this. Purpose is too generic and needs to be a clear business reason. And aside from that, it automatically detected the other validation in the
Beautiful.
missing fields.
That's awesome.
See?
And I know you just added this to the expense report like today. So really awesome job with that XTP edition. And I want to thank Sweat, of course, for putting all the work into the demo, the new features, obviously the XTP, and then Mel being her sidekick along the way, her mentor, and helping her with all these wonderful additions. Sweta, any final comments? How do you feel developing this AI stuff? I mean, what's your sense here? Do you think it's pretty cool or what?
Yeah, I'm really happy with today's demo, and we have been working since a year, and we have come a long way. And I think this is a great feature, as every month we are getting new models from different companies, and I think we need to go with the flow with the AI. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Awesome in the end. Mel, that's one word comment. Agree. Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here. This has been, I think, our longest webinar in a long time. I think we're at 1 hour in a few seconds here. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to get this up on YouTube, and you've got a very quick 4 questions to answer here if you're on the webinar. And then if you're not, please reach out to us. We'd love to help you adopt this. And thanks again, Sweta. Way to go.
Thank you,
Awesome
everyone.
job.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Mel.
Thanks. Bye.